Alright everyone, welcome to the video. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves. Tonight's video is going to be NRL Grand Final Droughts. Making a Grand Final is difficult, winning the premiership is difficult, but sometimes clubs take a long time to reach a Grand Final after their previous Grand Final. So I'm going to give you a top 10 list starting at number 10, working our way up to number 1 of the clubs where they had the longest Grand Final droughts. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. I've gained quite a lot over the last 2 weeks. And also, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers that have been there from the beginning and have supported me. And I hope that you're all on board and you continue to support me in the future. Now, coming in at number 10 tonight is Newcastle. And this is a current NRL Grand Final drought, so it's 19 year at the moment. Their last Grand Final was in 2001, where they shocked everyone, defeating Parramatta 30 points to 24 at Stadium Australia, or as it's known now as ANZ Stadium. Coming in at number 9 is Cronulla. Now they also had a 19 year drought between 1997 and 2016. The club got close on a number of occasions to reaching a grand final in between there, but couldn't quite pull it off. So, as we all know, they reached the 2016 grand final where they defeated Melbourne to win their first premiership. Coming in at number 8 is also another club that was stuck on 19 year, that was Balmain. So between 1969 and 1988, the club didn't reach a grand final. They had a particularly tough 1970s, and then in the 80s they turned into quite a formidable team, a team that could win the premiership, and in 1988 they reached the grand final against Canterbury, which they lost. In number 7 place I've got Canterbury. So between 1947 and 1967 the club failed to reach a grand final. It was a particularly tough 1950s for the club, and 20 years after the 1947 grand final loss against Canterbury, against Balmain, they reached the grand final against South, which they also lost. Coming in at number 6 is Eastern Suburbs, also known as the Sydney Roosters. So the club between 1980, when they reached the grand final, and 2000, when they played against Brisbane, they failed to reach a grand final. They had some strong sides in the 1990s, but they couldn't quite get over the line, and it wasn't until 2000 that they broke that grand final drought. Coming in at number 5 was a drought that was broken just last year. It was Canberra. So between 1994 and 2019 the club failed to reach a grand final. You would have thought, if you were back in 1994 and you watched the likes of Mal Meninga, Bradley Clyde, Ricky Stewart, that it wouldn't be too long between their next premiership success, but it took 25 years for the club to reach another grand final. Coming in at number 4 is Newtown. So between 1955 and 1981 the club failed to reach a grand final, so it was 26 years. They were a strong team in the mid 1950s. Newtown won back-to-back minor premierships and lost both grand finals to South. Then the club went through a period of decline, and it wasn't until the late 70s, early 80s that they managed to pick things up again and they reached that grand final against Parramatta. Coming in at number 3 is Western Suburbs. So they actually didn't get to break their grand final drought, but I'm going to include them on the list anyway. So between 1963 and 1999, when they exited the competition, they failed to reach a grand final. Their last grand final was in 1963 against St George, and that's me third longest grand final drought. Coming in at number 2 is another drought that was broken recently, and that was South Sydney. So between 1971 and 2014 the club failed to reach a grand final, which spanned a total of 43 years. The club didn't really get close to another grand final in that period, except for a few exceptions. 1989, when the club were minor premiers, and 2012 and 2013 when they reached the preliminary final. It was a very long drought for South fans, but as I've said in other videos, they got over the line in 2014. And coming in at number 1, they were number 1 last night, North Sydney. So they had a grand final drought of 56 year, and unfortunately, like Western Suburbs, they didn't get to see that grand final drought broken. Their last grand final that they appeared in was the 1943 grand final against Newtown, which they were favourites to win but lost. And between 1943 and 1999, they failed to reach a grand final. They made 4 preliminary finals in the 1990s but fell short on each occasion. So, unfortunately for North Sydney, they hold the records for the longest grand final drought and the longest premiership drought. So that's me video about NRL and the longest grand final droughts in history. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click that like button. If you're enjoying the content that I'm creating, or if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Click that notification bell so you get an email when I do a new video. And if you have some spare time, go over to Rugby League History. That's my Facebook page, and I also run the Instagram page as well. Go check those out. But as always, everyone, catch us all later. Look after yourselves. Have a good weekend, and tatty bye.